Hello and welcome to the Heresy Lodge. I'm your host, Dylan Cooper, with a constant host over here.
Gavin Franklin.
Guys, we are here this week to finish The Lord of the Rings, The Return
Yeah,
of the King.
the whole thing.
The
We're
whole
finally
thing.
going to figure out who is the Lord of the Rings.
Is there a Lord of the Rings?
I believe so.
There might be. There may not be. I don't know. We've been gone for 2 weeks. Shit's been weird.
Been a little while.
Yep. Sorry for the last 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago we had Gavin's bachelor party. Last week I was a single dad because my wife was in Chicago for work. So hard to
Honestly,
read when you're by
we
yourself.
did a lot of recovery from that bachelor party too.
Yeah. Yeah. It was tough.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever drank that much in my life.
I kind of hope I never drink that much again.
I agree. Great time though. If you guys ever looking for a really cool place to go, we had never been. The Ozarks. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
Lots
we
of
went.
swim up bars.
Yes, we went to Lake Osage. Really cool place. Really cool. Highly recommend. Check it out. It's a good time. Um, as always, though, before we're getting to things, our housekeeping, check us out on Discord. You find that pinned to our Twitter at Heresy Lodge. Email us at theheresylodge@gmail.com. Check us out on YouTube at the Heresy Lodge. We have merch. Buy yourself something nice. One day we'll have new merch.
One
One
day.
day. Gavin, what are you drinking, sir?
Well, I'm drinking. So while I went and got radically shit faced in Osage, my fiance had the exact same date, exact same week, and they went up to Tell City, like Michigan, and they did there's a bunch of wineries up there, so they went and got wine. They went to bed at like 11 o'clock every night. That blew my mind.
We went to bed at like 1, but we were also barely alive.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. So she got me 2 bottles of wine. She may have purchased like 12 bottles of wine. We now
Jesus.
have too much wine to fit in our wine fridge and our dry wine rack. So there's just a box of wine now. This is a Cab Franc from Breeze Estate. It's very good. I'm a big fan of dry red wines.
I love dry reds.
It's a really good time. It's a reserve. So yeah, and then I have a secret drink later today, later in the
Ooh.
episode. And then I have this it's not an actual cup. This is 2 cups, and I cannot get the bottom cup off of the top cup. So I'm just drinking the double stacked.
So we
Stacked.
call a good power bottom right there.
Dylan, how about you?
I am drinking from St. Joseph's Brewery here in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Great
Really
brewery.
cool brewery. Highly recommend their buffalo chicken poutine. It's just so fucking good.
Some poutine. They honestly make the best poutine in the city. It's hard to find good poutine. So when you find some good ones,
Buffalo chicken one is just so good. So good. So good. I go there just for that, honestly. But I am drinking, I don't know the name of it, but it's the Hefeweizen. Big Happy fan. Theirs is pretty good.
yeah, that's their famous one, isn't it?
Maybe. I don't know.
I always think, yeah, let me see here.
I don't know if they're quote unquote famous, but they're known in the Indianapolis area, probably.
Yes, it's the coolest brewery in Indianapolis, in my opinion, from like just a cool standpoint. But it's
Yeah, I mean it's in an actual cathedral. It's really cool.
so they have their. Are you sure it's a Hefeweizen?
Mm-hmm.
Let me see here. So they've got a confessional IPA, a Cornerstone Kolsch, Benevolent Blonde, an Absolution Amber. I don't see a Hefeweizen, but they are like a German. They are like a German beer place, so they should. Okay.
I said I know they have one. I'm drinking it.
Kirche, Kirche. I feel like that's a play on words of something, but some religious text, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I
Kirsch.
mean all their stuff is.
Hmm.
Well, kind of like. So I tried the Saint Jucifer. and it was not very good.
Yeah, that makes sense. The Pew Buster.
Yeah, the Kirsch Hefeweizen. Yeah, that's what this is.
Okay, cool. Um,
The Lord of the Rings, the Return of the King.
where did we leave off? Blackgate.
I believe we are at the Black Gate.
And we switched over to Frodo and Sam's story after the Black Gate. And it's basically their story from this evil tower to Mount Doom is the next stage of the story, I would say. And you get Sam, he thinks Frodo's dead. He uses the ring, and Sam's like, well, I mean, he was kind of excited. I feel like deep down, he's like, oh, I'm really upset that Frodo's dead. But we all know that Sam's like, it's mine, it's my precious. Like,
Yeah, because I think we talked about this, how then the story would have been better if Frodo was dead here.
mm-hmm.
And I still agree with that, I think.
I think, yeah, a portion of it. I really like what Tolkien did in the end at Mount Doom. But so Sam goes and rescues Frodo because all the orcs are infighting. The orcs in the books are just, I don't picture them as the orcs that you would see in the movies. Like they're
No.
just way more human.
Yeah, I agree. Like it does not feel like they are these like crazy, fucked up looking creatures. It's just like, hey man, you hear about this? Because that was a little fucked up, and I don't know about that. And they're like, I'll fucking dare you suggest a leader's wrong. I will fuck your mother in front of you.
Yes. Yeah, they just seem like super hyper aggressive humans. It kind of seems like the one guy that you don't want to talk to at the party or run into because they might just like be very weird about stuff and cause a lot of drama.
They're the guy that like punches the hole in the wall at the
That's
house party.
true.
And like, God damn it, Kyle.
Yeah, they're all Kyles. I was about to say it. They're all Kyles. Uh, so they start fighting each other. And at this point, portion of the book, there's a tremendous amount of infighting and within the orc like groups. And it definitely seems like even though like Sauron is still there doing his shit, it's like he barely has a reign on all of these various different clans.
Yeah.
Which I find interesting because from what I understand, like the orcs were kind of created from either elves and they were corrupted or they're just like naturally evil beings.
Yeah. It might have been mentioned in the appendix that we didn't read.
That's true. So Sam saves Frodo. Frodo has that little moment when he's like, "Give me the ring." And Sam's like, "Okay, well, whatever.
This is a little weird. Like, you sure? Give it to me.
Give it to me
All right.
already."
All right, dude.
So they make their way across the.
Well, my favorite part about this is when Sam is like going around trying to find like orc clothes, and he gives fucking Frodo like a used orc loincloth. And I'm just like, dude, there's no fucking way I would put on an orc's loincloth.
I don't know
I
what
would be
they're gonna
free
do.
balling.
I think the funny part about all this is like in the movies
Oh, and Sam was also like, no, I'm not wearing any of that. I think it makes more sense if I stay how I am.
it's like it doesn't make any sense. Like you do the math behind it and none of it adds up. He goes and gets all this armor for Frodo. Frodo's like, okay, now you. And he's like,
That shit smells and it's really gross. I'm gonna keep wearing what I'm wearing. This really nice elf cloak. Yeah, I'm keeping that.
So why wear the orcs to disguise ourselves? But you're not disguised. So I can fight orcs. Things are adding up here, Sam.
Like, no, man, I smelled that shit for like an hour and a half and I ain't wearing it.
I think the funnier part is like they get down the road and as they see orcs coming, Frodo's like, this shit's too heavy. I'm taking it off.
This sucks ass.
And it's like, wait a minute. The orcs are about to come. Like the whole purpose of this was to disguise yourself. And they're like, I'm just gonna like lie down. No, like they don't see me.
I'm gonna roll around the dirt. I'm I'm just gonna be really dirty, and they're like, "Yeah, that's an orc. Get in line."
The whole concept of the orc armor is just very funny. It's like almost like practical jokes that Tolkien was playing within the like, I don't think I'm gonna wear that. Then 20 minutes down the road, I'm gonna take this shit off. The orcs are coming. I don't care. So they get caught a few times by orcs, but like the orcs are always infighting or they're easy to escape from, and the hobbits are using their ability to just hide. And the whole time Frodo, like you see like throughout the movies, Frodo the whole time is like slowly deteriorating. You don't really get that
I don't
in
even feel like
school.
it's slowly. I feel like in the movies, it's like he's like super sick, like constantly.
Yeah. You don't in the books, it's like pretty much when he gets stung by Shelob, that's it. Like he was fine
Yeah,
before. And now he's all fucked up as soon as he gets into Mordor.
yeah.
But I think the real like point to all of this is the fact that very clearly, like super clearly, the of this whole story is 100% Samwise Gamgee.
Yep.
Like he does everything.
Literally everything. Like Frodo's useless.
He's completely
Like
useless.
even in the end, he's fucking useless the whole time.
Yeah, like yeah, Sam is the dude. So I would like to submit my theory that Sam is actually the Lord of the Rings.
I mean, I think it makes the most. He's the one that did fucking anything.
Hmm.
Because I mean, even in the end, like Frodo, well, the end of the ring, right? It's
Yeah.
not because of Frodo.
I mean, there's only two people in the books that I believe, well, let's say three, kind of. There's really three people in the books that truly resisted the calling of the ring.
Tom Bombadil.
Four.
Wait a minute, hold on.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. You got Tom Bombadil. Tom is like on a whole nother level. Who fucking knows? The next person you get is Galadriel.
Yeah.
But she like delves a little bit into it. She gets all fucking weird about it. She's like, "Oh, you're gonna have a powerful queen. She's gonna be so pretty."
But not
But
just for this me because I'm the prettiest.
I'm the prettiest. Gimli wants my hair, and
Gimli's like, good God, I would fuck that so fast.
I'm gonna turn the whole world into Gimli's. Be a world of simps for Galadriel. But she was like, "No, that's fucked up. I'm not into short guys." So she was able to end that. Then you get Aragon, and Aragon like kind of resists the ring, where he's like, Boromir wanted the ring, and Aragon's like, "No, I'm better than Boromir." Like, I feel like Aragon just wanted to brag, and that's why he was able to resist the
Yeah, that's
ring.
fair.
Sam Gamgee was an owner of the ring, had the ability to kill Frodo or leave Frodo while he was wearing the ring in Mordor. Okay, Galadriel didn't do that shit in Mordor. And by the way, Galadriel already wearing a ring, so like,
You need to?
come on, come on. Who like I'm just doing the math here. There's really only one person that was really, really able to overcome the power of Sauron, and that's Sam Gamgee.
Sam is the MVP of the Hobbits for sure.
100%. He is the Lord of the Rings, or at least one of my theories. My other one is definitely Shadowfax. Like I'm pretty sure he has all the rings.
All on his cock.
Oh, honestly, just chaining
We
them.
need more.
It really looks like a giant bracelet.
That's one fine horse, Gandalf. Oh, I know.
So Sam literally carries Frodo. At multiple times they go and like find water, which I think is kind of interesting. It's not something they really highlight in the movies, but like one thing about the books that I've always found like really interesting, and I always think like this is just an in-depth D&D campaign, as they're walking through this like lands of fire, and it's like, oh, I'm thirsty. What are we gonna do about that? And they have to go find water.
Yeah.
They make it to Mount Doom,
Well, they find
Smeagol.
Smeagol before that.
Well, yeah, he sees Smeagol while he's getting water. He's like, that fucking weirdo.
Like Son of a bitch.
Where's Smeagol getting? Maybe Smeagol just knows the water. I don't know.
I feel like Smeagol is just like that. I feel like the point of his character was like gone already, and he just keeps bringing him back.
Smeagol made so much sense to me. Smeagol makes a lot of sense to me. So the concept of Smeagol, and we'll kind of get maybe let's finish up what happens to the ring, and then we'll talk about Smeagol because I love the concept of Smeagol.
Okay, that's fair. So yeah,
So
I mean they run into Smeagol. Smeagol like helps lead them.
no, Smeagol attacks them immediately.
Are you sure?
Yeah, for like him and Sam start fighting, and he knocks Sam out, but then Frodo's already escaping into Mount Doom.
Well, this happened before. Like they ran into them again, and that's like before they got captured by the orcs and like got in line. They ran into Smeagol.
No, what are you talking about?
This totally happened.
This is not a thing that occurred.
This
They didn't run into
totally occurred.
Smeagol. They don't run into Smeagol until Mount Doom.
No, they like see him like Sam sees him at like a watering hole, and then like eventually like he like comes back and he's like, "You piece of shit," and then Frodo talks to him and Sam, and then like they like he leads them to it was like they like went through like a town almost and fucking like before the orcs even came like
Dude,
they were
what are you talking about?
Smeagol warns them that the orcs were coming.
What?
This is a whole thing, I swear. I have the extended edition, I don't know, but this happened.
Maybe I don't. Maybe I was like zoned, but like, I do not
Yeah,
remember.
there's a whole thing where like they ran into Smeagol and like Smeagol kind of like leads them to like this like cross path because he was gonna like lead them to Mount Doom and they get caught. That's when they get caught by the orcs and like Smeagol like ran away because he was like warning them because like the like literally the ground is shaking from the fucking marching and stuff. And Smeagol's like, we gotta fucking go. We gotta go.
No fucking way. I
This
don't
is the
remember this
thing.
at all.
It happened, man.
Let me find out. Everything about Lord of the Rings is documented. That gate opens. Okay, okay. So this would be like under the land of shadow.
Probably. That sounds right.
This doesn't happen.
This does happen. I didn't make this up.
Uh, I'm gonna need I'm gonna
Uh-huh.
need some listeners in Discord to confirm that they see Smeagol and Smeagol helps them in Mordor.
Here,
Because
I will pull it up for you. Hold on.
I feel like logically they'd be like, oh no, remember that one time you tried to feed us to a giant spider?
Yes, that
Does put a
the
damper on
thing
my
was
shit.
fucking Frodo was like, I would rather deal with the known and the Smeagol than I would the orcs or some stupid shit.
No, yeah, I remember that, but that's when like they see him in the distance, and Smeagol and Sam's like, "Yo, Smeagol's out and about," right before they get to Mount Doom, and Frodo's like, "I'd rather deal with Smeagol than orcs."
Yeah, and they do. He
Uh,
leads them. That's
But
like
what
they get them to like that random. He has this whole thing where there's like I remember the map and there's like this like weird like cross pathing. Like we need to get to that, and Smeagol leads them there.
I'm I'm mind blown by this whole thing.
I'm trying to find it here. The problem is I can't fucking spell.
Did you know they made that video game, that Smeagol video game,
Well, you know
Gollum?
what's even crazier? They're making a Smeagol TV show or movie. They're making a Smeagol movie.
It's so wild.
So I don't. Is it based off the fucking like? Is it when like Smeagol's missing?
No, it's
Gonna
when
be
Aragon tries to find Smeagol.
yeah. So when he was
Remember?
like,
Yeah.
why?
Does Gollum help Frodo in Mordor? I don't think this happened.
It happened, man. Trust me, when I'm running, all I can do is focus on this before I die.
All right, we're gonna have to see. We'll have to see post next episode. We're gonna see what happens, but end of the story is Gollum eventually attacks Sam.
Yes.
Frodo makes it into Mount Doom. Sam follows him in, and that's when Frodo turns around and get the big reveal. Frodo is not the Lord of the Rings. Frodo says, "I'm gonna keep the ring, even though I'm about to die of exhaustion." I'm gonna keep it and it'll be with me when I die by me. And then Gollum jumps him as he puts the ring on and bites his finger off. And Gollum, in celebration, falls
Mountain Dew.
into Mount Doom. Now, I've heard some things about this scene, and it may be an appendice thing or it may be a Cimmerillion thing, but it is told that who's the main god of Lord of the Rings?
Don't tell you.
Iluvatar? Iluvatar. It has been told, or I have heard, that Iluvatar actually intervenes in this moment to trip Smeagol into Mount Doom. Garbage. I don't like that.
That
Let's
is,
do
yeah, I
that.
don't like that. I'm trying really hard to find this.
And try harder. So the reason I think that that's garbage and the reason that I really like Smeagol as a character is this is the concept. You have to think about the ring as a character. What is the ring's goal? The ring's goal is to return itself to Sauron. And the way that the ring goes about accomplishing this is corrupting the hearts of those around the ring in an attempt to have them kill each other, or essentially the ring itself weakens the allies against Sauron. And it may, in human hands, convince them that they can fight Sauron, which delivers the ring right to his gates, right? So the ring is corrupting people in order to get himself back to Sauron. Now, the reason I love this so much is because the ring, not Gollum, is the mastermind of its own destruction. It's through the corruption of Gollum that the ring destroys itself. By corrupting Gollum and Frodo, it created a conflict that the ring was destroyed in the process. And I love that as a concept. Gollum represents, at the end of the day, and so does Frodo. Frodo and Gollum at the same time represent the ring's will, and the ring's will destroys itself. It's kind of the concept that Tolkien continues to talk about, like good versus evil, is like evil cannot create, it can only destroy. And that is always the downfall of evil, and that's always why good can win. Is because the ring will never be able to create power. It can only destroy. And it's eventually just destroyed itself, is essentially what happened. And that's why I love the character of Gollum.
Yeah, that's fair. You don't remember the fucking point where there's like
I
Frodo falls
had
asleep
an
in
amazing
Sam's lap.
analysis, Dylan, and now you're gonna bring it all the way back. You answer me with, yeah, that's fair. And then you're gonna come back and you're gonna be
Man,
like,
there was this super gay moment where Sam like lays Frodo's head in his lap. He's like, I gotta make sure that that golem comes back. It was so fucking gay.
well, I remember, this is what I remember. This is what I recall. I recall that Sam and Frodo start to fall asleep. Sam lays Frodo's head in his lap. They think about their time in the Tuscan village.
Yep.
Sam leaves Frodo to go and find water. And while he's doing so, he spots Gollum in the distance. Sam runs back, makes sure Frodo's okay, tells Frodo Gollum's about, and Frodo's like, hey, like, that does suck, but I'd rather it be Gollum than orcs because we know how to deal with Gollum. We don't know how to deal with orcs. But Gollum doesn't make another appearance from what I remember until they get right before Mount Doom. But I don't know, maybe
It happens, man. It
uh,
happens. It's a
you're so
whole thing.
sensitive. So they're about to die, Sam and Frodo, they make it out. There's not as big of a scene where like Frodo almost falls into Mount Doom. Frodo's just like his fingers got cut off and Gollum's in the fire and he's like, fuck, well, let's get out then.
Yeah,
Joyce
like
is
the
taking over
fucking
me.
volcano starts like erupting.
Yeah. So they get out of there.
Kind of like they're like running away. And the birds go,
Yeah, they get saved by the Eagles. They all make it back. Everyone's situated around camp. And Aragon's now like, all right, I'm gonna walk in and I'm gonna be king again. And they start their slowish journey back to Minas Tirith. And then you get a transition. Now, let me tell you, this was a very interesting moment to me because in the movies, they basically replace multiple elf scenes with Arwen, who's the elf that Aragon is in love with.
Yeah.
And that's like a pretty good love story. Dude, when it goes back to Minas Tirith, when they're waiting for the king to return, it's all from the point of view of Eowyn and um,
Faramir.
yeah, Faramir. Man, that's some steamy shit. It's a whole chapter where Faramir's
And
like,
all I
"Oh,
can think about is like when we talked about how like Eowyn has to look like a dude from how Aragorn rejected her, and Faramir's like, man, I would fuck the shit out of her.
that's it, right." I want you to tell me all about how you battled the Marks.
You keep wearing that super white, super thin thing you got on, and I'm just gonna stare at you.
Deal. I'd love if you visited me every day.
Look, I know you are like obsessed with the Aragorn guy, but like I got things.
That's actually a conversation that occurs.
Yeah,
It
it
is so
really
funny. And like it is the most ridiculous shit ever. Bad Faramir, bad dating advice from Faramir. You got a
is.
girl who comes to you and she's like, well, like I would be into you, but I'm kind of super into my ex. Red flag. Everyone's got some red fucking flags going on. Well, he's not really my ex. He was never actually into me. Two red flags. Two red flags being waved right there. Oh my goodness. And then it was
Faramir's like, I don't give a shit. Like I'm like kind of like a prince and like regent or something. I don't really know what my title is anymore because technically Aragorn's king, and I don't know how this works.
I'm kind of a big deal too.
But you're hot, and I'm lonely.
And I remember like it was kind of an awkward moment because for of the reader for me, because it was she was like, I've done all these great things. What are you gonna do? Home? He's like, you have done all these great things. I think that's fucking badass. She goes, okay, fine. I'll cook and clean for you. She was like, you're gonna go and tell everybody that you've locked me down because you have. I was like, okay, well, you went from like being the most badass scene, like most women empowering, cool moment, honestly, in the books, to like, all right, I'll cook and clean. Did you say prince?
Well, shit. I
Sign me
thought I
up.
was gonna get a king, but I'll settle.
Is there money involved? As long as I'm not living with all these horses.
Gandalf said there was Shadowfax in the distance. Like, man, you want this fucking horse.
Don't be such a jealous bitch. I'll tell you what. You're just so upset Shadowfax doesn't want you.
Shadowfax is the best. This is your secret drink? Oh boy, is that the coconut rum?
Some hard truth coconut rum.
The best coconut rum on the market.
A lot of you guys might think I'm a degenerate for drinking this straight, but let me tell you, you can.
Best on the market. People like, oh, Malibu is the gold standard. No, no, no. Malibu's shit compared to this. Oh shit. The it's so powerful that it disconnected your glasses.
That's what they feed Shadowfax.
It made things very hot and heavy in this room.
So so the rest of the book, or well, at least three chapters is just a bunch of goodbyes.
Yes. And it is long to end this book. Like after like the Mount Doom stuff happens, like I am like ready for the book to end. And then I look at the Audible and it's like there are 13 hours left. I was like, that's weird. What the fuck?
Strange.
And then like I opened the book and I'm like, well, there's about 1,000 pages that are the appendix, so we're not going through that.
Yeah, we did not go through the appendix. I think we've seen enough Lord of the Rings lore on YouTube. I feel pretty
I
comfortable.
don't need to read the glossary. That's also part of the appendix. Like it's fine.
Yeah. So they start making their way back. And Aragon goes with them. They go to Barry Theoden. There's a lot of just like retelling of stories to people. You get that in my opinion, there's a scene in the movie that is just my favorite scene, and it's not in the books, and it's really disappointing because I think it would have been a great scene. But that moment where they're ordaining the king.
Hmm.
In the books, it's like there's this moment where he's like, Frodo, or no, Gandalf is gonna put the crown on my head.
Yeah, Frodo hands it to Gandalf, and then Gandalf places it.
The scene that literally brings tears to my eyes almost every time I watch Lord of the Rings is during Aragorn's coronation. And Aragorn's walking through the crowd of people. He sees Legolas, he sees Gimli, he sees Éomer and Gandalf. And he makes it to the end, just like there's just the hobbits standing there and they're just like smiling. And then they kneel before him because he's the king, right?
Yeah.
And he goes up and just amazing lines like, my friends, you kneel for no one. And he kneels before them. And then everyone has to kneel because the king is kneeling. Boof. Oh, shivers. Shivers. Because he got four hobbits. It's just like these average, they were sitting there farming a year ago.
Really, it's all for Sam.
It's really Sam.
Although Mary and Pippin, they did good stuff.
They're like badass hobbits.
The only one that did nothing the whole time was fucking Frodo.
This is true. Frodo is my least.
Frodo was dead weight. He was literally being carried around by Sam.
Yeah.
Did nothing for the actual story.
Yeah. So they decide they're going to make their journey back. All of the fellowship goes. Quite a few people go. They make it to Edoras.
Yeah.
They bury Theoden, and it's just like you start to say goodbye to some people that are like side characters, like Prince Imrahil and Éomer and Éowyn, all the people with the A's. And
He does this alphabetically.
yeah, pretty much. And so then they leave and they actually go to Fangorn. And this was like the dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen. They go to Fangorn Forest back to oh god, Orthanc, Orthanc, that's where Saruman is being imprisoned. And Treebeard's like, oh, it's so great to see you guys. And Gandalf's like, oh, have Saruman. He's like, we let him go.
He's like, well, I could like I kept him, but you know how I feel about imprisonment.
It's bad. So we let him go. Like, you killed like so many orcs. You should just killed them. Oh, that's bad.
We got the key to the castle tower thing.
Cool.
I gave it over here to Quick Thought or whatever the hell his name is.
And even funnier, like they start, okay, so Fangor Forest, this is where they say goodbye to Gimli and Legolas. Ugh, heart wrencher. Gimli and Legolas go out to Fangorn because they already explored Helm's Deep.
Yep.
From my understanding, they continue to be really good friends. They, of course, support Aragon with all of the, resources that they said they would help with. And then Gimli goes and actually opens up like basically a dwarven kingdom within Helm's Deep, within the caves.
Yeah, they do like this like quick cool story of like them exploring the caves, and then Legolas is like, "Well, a dwarf cannot beat an elf in anything that matters. So let me go show you like a forest or something."
Right.
So that shit was beautiful. Let me show you something else.
So I think like Gimli and Legolas have always been my two favorite characters of
Yeah.
the movies. Um,
It's a nice bromance.
Gimli in particular is just fucking great. Like
Yes.
he's just phenomenal. And when, especially in the movie, when they cast Orlando Bloom as Legolas and made him like a badass archer, I was like, oh, this duo, perfect.
Yeah.
And then you have Sam. Like those are the three that I'm like, these guys are awesome to read about. So that was kind of a heart wrencher. I think at the end of the day, from what I understand, Gimli actually gets to travel with Legolas across the sea.
Yeah. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. So then they ride to Rivendell, but on their way to Rivendell, they run into Saruman. And like,
And he's just like a homeless man.
he's almost, and there's like 16 fully armed elves and shit, and all of the hobbits are fully armed, and Gandalf's like the only wizard left other than Radagast.
Yeah.
and and literally Saruman's like, I'm homeless. And
Liz, are you coming to show about you son of a bitch?
he's talking shit to all these guys. And Mary's like, look, I'll give you some money. He's like, oh, that's right. It should be my money because you robbed me of my home when I was trying to invade and kill you all. It's like the dumbest argument in the world. You
Yeah, it was
shouldn't
weird.
let me kill you. Why didn't you do that? You fucking assholes. And then Mary's like, fine, I'll take my money back. It's like, no, I'm a thief, so I'm a thief. Oh, wow, you asshole. This is
Please, I
all
need
me.
that. I haven't eaten in days.
I'm like, just kill him. Fucking whatever. He's right there. It's like the exact scene from Austin Powers where he's like, look, why are we doing this elaborate thing? We can kill him. I've got a gun right there in my room. Pow, pow, dead. But no. So they go to Rivendell. They stay there for like a few months.
Yeah, because Bilbo's there, and like
He's getting old as fuck.
he's always lost his marbles a little bit. He's fucking falling asleep mid conversation. I mean, he's an old man.
Yeah.
He's old. He lost his precious, so he's a little more fucked up.
Well, the ring was one of the things that was elongating his life. So with its destruction, he started to accelerate in age.
Yeah,
And of course, like with the ring's destruction too, one thing that we have to always bring up is the elves are also losing their magic.
yeah,
The elves had always been like dying out, and the rings are what preserved them on in Middle Earth. But with the destruction of the Great Ring, their rings no longer have power, and so that will slowly start to fade away, and elves will die, and that's why all of them eventually make their way across the ocean.
yeah. Kind of weird concept there.
I like it. It's like basically the concept is like you have various different ages, and in the fourth age, which is the age of man, that's when magic starts to leave Middle Earth. Like magic is a
Yeah,
fleeting essence. It's not like permanent. Uh, it's almost like a concept of like growing up a little bit. I think he was probably maybe trying to make some analogies to that. Like as time goes on, the magic of the world fades.
it all turns to shit, and you have to get a job.
In industry, yeah, pretty much like that's what
Yeah,
it is. Um, like the elves rely on magic and the humans who I feel like are more of like the adult, like elves are literally like children in the
yeah,
books. The humans they have to rely on like bravery and unknown. Like when they die, they don't know what happens. The elves know what happens to them when they die. But that's pretty cool. That's kind of a big deal. So they eventually leave Rivendell and they make it back to the Shire. I guess shit's all weird.
yeah. It's completely like industrialized. Is like the best way to describe it.
I
with
had
one
thought,
factory.
yeah, I had thought that they were going to turn, I thought like orcs were gonna invade the Shire.
Yeah,
That
that's
is,
what it seemed like when like he like looked in like the crystal ball or whatever.
I have so many thoughts about the Shire seats.
It sucked.
At one time, like they're describing some of these thugs as like half orcish,
Yeah.
and there's been never been any mention of have half orcs before. And like we were talking about earlier, like orcs are just kind of like in the books, they just seem like shitty people.
Yeah.
And now that the ring's destroyed and we're talking about magic, like fleeting Middle Earth, the way I read this and the way I felt was like this dude was an orc, but now he's just a shitty person. You kind of get what I'm saying. Like it feels like he's making a transition from this like fantasy universe into like, okay, this is what it's like in real life. It's almost like the never ending story kind of scenario.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's a little deep for drinking rum.
Well, the thing too, like this whole section of the book, I was just like ready for the book to be over, and there were still like conflicts happening. I'm like, well, why? Like the big bad's gone. Like you did that. We were home. It's like, well, there's actually like one more conflict. Like, I honestly don't care at this point.
It is, it's very like, it makes sense to me that the reasoning behind this was to show how much the four hobbits had grown and to where they can actually just like bring things back to normal. But I already knew that. Like I already knew that they were very grown characters.
Yeah, I mean, hell, we had this the last two and a half, well, 2 and 3/4 books has been their growth.
Yeah.
Both like Merry and Pippin both have are like honor guard in a fucking army.
Two
We
different
have
kingdoms. Yeah.
Sam literally carrying Frodo's piece of shit self up a fucking volcano.
Yeah. If Frodo doesn't do anything, but he doesn't do anything here either.
No, he just watches the battle and he's like, hey, don't kill that guy. He gave up.
Yeah. It's really weird. And also like I was talking about this earlier, like so this chapter more than any chapter, like made me it hit really close to like reality in some of the things that he was saying. And like I was talking like the magic fleeting and how like it's there's a little thin veil here. And I feel like about the half orcish, these brutes, and then he talks about how like these people don't belong here because we came back from war and there are all these ruffians and thugs were taking over our town and changing the ways of our town. Now, obviously, these people were evil. They were like imprisoning
Yeah.
people. They were like, we came back from war and we kicked the people out of our town. Kind of seemed a little some
That's a little weird.
undertones, a little weird, some undertones there for sure. And I just think it was a pretty unnecessary chapter overall.
Yeah, I agree. Like, why can't they just be home and it be over?
Yeah. And you get, Frodo stays for pretty much another year, and he has been harmed by the Morgul blade. And I he was stabbed by, I believe it was the Witch King or one of the nine. Um, and I get that. I mean, it makes sense. I think at the end of the day, my thought process is Tolkien wanted him to die. I think it would have made more sense if he died at Mount Doom.
I agree. Or hell, when he should have died from Sheila.
Yeah. So
Fucking Sam wouldn't have even had an inner conflict about throwing in the volcano and being like, fuck that shit.
yeah, that's why I think it would have made more sense if Frodo died at Mount Doom, because like you have Frodo and Smeagol wrestling, and then they both fall in together.
Yeah, but I mean, think about it this way. Shelob kills Frodo, right? Sam gets there and he has to fight Gollum again. And he defeats Gollum and throws the fucking ring in the fire or in the volcano.
I just
I'm
feel like
just as satisfied.
I
Maybe
don't like
more
that as
sexy.
much. I don't like it as much because it kind of shows like,
Better
oh,
than fucking Gimli sitting there celebrating and then falling in. Come on.
I like the
That's a
idea.
little lame.
I like the idea that evil defeats itself. I like that message. I really enjoy that. I don't like this hero overcoming evil. Like, but
But
that's
Sam isn't even overcoming shit. Sam the whole time just like, man, fuck this shit. Why I came here because I'm a fucking good ass servant.
yeah.
I'm a great gardener, god damn it.
It's pretty clear. Like, I think Tolkien was struggling because he wanted to show sacrifice, which is Frodo dying, but he didn't want to show Frodo being corrupted, because he wanted the good to prevail at multiple levels. But I think it would have been a more compelling story if Frodo, I mean, he was corrupted in the end. Like
Yeah.
he was not about to throw the ring in the fire. And so at that point, it kind of defeats the purpose, in my opinion, of keeping him alive.
Yeah.
It really does. And I think it would have been more interesting if Frodo fell into the fire of Mount Doom with Gollum. Sam survives. He writes the stories. But here you get the scenario of Frodo. He just kind of comes back. He lives in the Shire for like a year. And then he's like, yeah,
We
stuff.
haven't talked about this part. Who took over the Shire?
Oh, Saruman.
What the fuck? Saruman's going by the name Sharky, which according to the book means old man in orc.
Yeah, very weird.
Yeah. And like they like have a whole fucking like war kind of hobbits versus like 100 guys. Literally all the hobbits versus like 100 guys.
It's sad. Like, it's more sad to me that like random hobbits died. I'm like, what a
Yeah.
no hobbits died. That would have been better. And like, it's weird because like one of the hobbits like tries to take over the town out of greed. And this chapter two like really blurred the lines for me behind like what like a hobbit is. You know, like because it talks all about in the beginning, the first appendices, like here's the difference mentally and morally between hobbits and humans. And this chapter seemed to just kind of throw all that away.
Yeah. The what's even like dumber to me is like all the literally like the hobbits were just like, this guy's the leader. Like, we're just gonna like listen to this guy. Like he like might hurt us. So everyone's gonna just follow these new rules. Like
Yeah.
there was no like revolt other than like one random old lady with an umbrella.
Yep.
Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah. Kind of strange.
And then there's old Cotton Eye Joe who's like, yeah, that shit's fucked. We should just kill them all.
Let's kill them all. The Tukes.
Yeah.
The
Well, the
Tukes are.
tips, and then there's a, god damn it, it's like something, it's like Farmer Joe or some shit.
Oh, are you talking about Rosie's dad?
Yeah, Mr. Cotton.
No, whatever. Let's kill him. Little Sam shows up. We should take these guys out. And he's like sharpening a sword.
It's
I've
like,
been waiting for
I'm all about that
some.
shit. You want to fuck my daughter?
He's like the dude that's waiting for the home invader. The dude breaks into the house and just sitting there with a shotgun tweaking. I've been waiting for this for so long. Oh man. So they take back over the Shire. Frodo lives there for about a year, and then they all meet back up again with Sam, with Galadriel, with Elrond, and with Gandalf, and all of them sail across the ocean except for, of course, Sam, Merry, and Pippin. Now, it's suggested that Sam will be able to go to the Great Havens as well because he was a ring bearer. But it's not until the future because he's fine and he has kids and all that good stuff.
Yeah, he had the ring for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, well, good enough. It was the best 10 minutes that ring ever had.
I mean, I don't blame it. Of all the people that held the ring so far, I would pick Sam 10 out of 10 times.
You got Gandalf over there like, fuck, like maybe I fucked up. Yeah, you'll be invited to the Grey Havens. Come on, Frodo, get on the fucking boat.
We're Shadowfax.
Yeah, I don't, Shadowfax never made it. Never made it to the boat. Tough,
Yeah.
tough time for Gandalf. They all make it back. That's the end of the book. Sam makes it back home. Um, Overall, like the ending was very sad for me.
Yeah, I mean, like Sam saying good, like the final goodbye to Frodo and Gandalf and the elves. And then like he sits down at the dinner table and is like, well, I'm home.
Yeah, I mean, what a journey. I mean, you
Yeah.
think about what Tolkien accomplished was this, and it was incredible. And it's more incredible than any Warhammer book we ever read because it has a beginning, a middle, and an end. It's perfect.
There is an end.
There is an end, and it's
Even
a
if it got dragged on a little bit, it was still dragged on less than the end of the death.
so true. Like I would rather read The Lord of the Rings again than the end and the death.
Part one, two, and three.
Yeah. I just it's definitely like one of those books where you're just impressed by what he was able to accomplish and you still I enjoyed it. Like I'm glad I read it.
Yeah.
Glad I read it. And
I don't want to read like the Silmarillion or the other two books because I don't need that.
yeah.
But these last four books, I've enjoyed them. I've never like the Two Towers. It's kind of rough the first half.
First half of Fellowship was pretty rough too, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, getting going through Tom Bombadil, going through the Burrow
Hey
down.
man, Tom's great. Even Gandalf spent some time with Tom.
You got what's her name? Goldie, what's her name?
Whatever. His
Whatever.
hot ass wife.
Yeah, he
She
loves
might
his
be a tree.
wife.
We don't know.
I gotta get back to her. Meridell? Gosh, I can't remember. It's something like
I
that.
don't know, but Tom found him a baddie. He
Mhm.
was all about it.
So, would highly recommend to read at least once in your life. It will take you a few months. Uh, and there are definitely parts where you're like, oh, this is slogging. But if you kind of recognize the story for what it is, the inception of modern day fantasy, and like just what's cool about it is up until recently, in my opinion, fantasy never caught up to Tolkien. And then you start seeing books being released like Wheel of Time, Aragon, Game of Thrones, where you have authors taking what Tolkien did and taking it to the next level. I mean, it was stood for what I would say is close to 100 years of being
Yeah.
the best like high fantasy novel of all time. Um, it's impressive. And it's still what's cool about it is when you finish reading it, you still get that kind of warm, fuzzy feeling.
Yeah. All right. I mean, you can't really rank the books, I think, because it's so sequential. Like literally, you end Fellowship of the Ring, Two Towers starts.
Yeah,
In the Two Towers, you get the Return of the King.
sure.
As a whole, though, how would you rank the books, or how would you rank the series and then rank the books?
Okay. I mean, the series for me, I mean, people are gonna hate anything that I say here. I have a really hard time. Like, I have two sides of my brain. Like, one side is like it's a 10 out of 10 because it's the Lord of the Rings and there's nothing else like it.
It's the grandfather
It
of
is.
fantasy.
However, my enjoyment is probably a 6. There were many times where it was slogged, but there were many times where like I felt like, oh, I fucking love reading this.
Yeah, I agree with that.
What are your thoughts on the series?
Series as a whole, I mean, I agree. It's the Lord of the Rings. It's hard not to enjoy it. Um, I do think I prefer the movies.
For sure. I mean, Peter Jackson did like an insanely good job.
Yeah, and then like yes, like the Fellowship isn't the most fun, but like Two Towers and Return of the King, like seeing the battles is so fucking cool.
I love the Fellowship.
Yeah, I enjoy all three of them.
Yeah.
I but man, those battles are so fucking cool.
Yeah, it's incredibly impressive.
Less tree time is also nice.
Less tree time. So true.
I
So
mean, there was like 3 hours of trees talking and long terms. I'm like, God damn,
Peter Jackson cut out what needed to be cut out.
he did.
All I'm saying.
And he added some like cool stuff too.
Mhm. I agree.
But yeah, I mean, I think like I agree. I think everyone should read this at some point, from like
Yeah.
The Hobbit to
If
Return of the
you're a nerd, like it's worth the read 100% because it it's kind of I think at its heart it describes you. It describes me a little bit as a nerd, where I'm like, oh shit, like it makes so much sense as a nerd.
Yeah, and like you read it and you kind of like see like all the things like it's inspired. Like
Mhm.
Game of Thrones, like even like the names of things, like
Yep.
obviously like it's like spread out so far because of what Tolkien did here. I think it's a must read. Enjoyment though, I agree. Probably about a 6. Like
I go with like even five. If like it was, there were
it
many.
depends, right? Like you have like a tree moment, and then you have like before the Black Gate where there's like that sweet battle, and you
Yeah.
have fucking was it Pippin that was fighting with Arwen?
Oh, it's amazing.
So fucking cool.
Let's rank the books. Okay, I'll tell you right. You're probably on the same boat. Best book was by far Return of the King,
Yep.
like by a mile, and like specifically the Battle of the Pelennor Fields. Holy
Yeah.
shit!
Really good.
What's wild to me about this whole thing is Tolkien notoriously before this chapter doesn't write battles.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, it's
even
always been just kind of like skimmed. Like this happened, this happened, and the battle's over.
then he writes like a battle. I was like,
Yeah.
this is one of the best written battles I have ever read. It doesn't go into insane detail, but what it does is it highlights moments, and that's what you need in a battle. You need to highlight pivotal moments
Yep.
and see how they impact the battle, and that's it.
Yep.
And like it was so well done. The Rohirrim, seeing like Eowyn fighting, and then like Eomer saying the shit that he did was just like shivers. It was fucking great.
So good.
Return of the King up here, specifically the Battle of Pelennor Field, is like definitely the best chapter that we read. What's your second favorite?
I think I'd probably do Two Towers.
Really, I would go with Fellowship.
So my order, I think, would go Turn of the King, Two Towers, Hobbit, Fellowship.
Get out of town. Okay, so we're doing the Hobbit too. Okay, that's interesting. I would put the Hobbit as number two.
I think that's fair. The Hobbit's good.
But I would do Fellowship before Two Towers. I think Two Towers was my least favorite of the books.
I think Two Towers was like super slow, but it ended well.
There was one scene there was in Two Towers that I loved, which was when Merry and Pippin got kidnapped by the orcs.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was a great scene. Um, and I think Fellowship and Two Towers teeter for me a little bit. I loved Moria and Fellowship.
I think that's fair.
I loved Gimli being a simp in
He
Fellowship.
was. He was a simp.
um,
The fucking like I'm pretty sure it was Fellowship of the Ring. Fucking Legolas like just jumps on the stone, was like, if you want an elf, you just go or something. Like that was the dumbest fucking like quote I've ever seen. I was like, all right, fair enough.
you're swaying me a little bit because the other scene I think I like in the Two Towers, which was written really well, was when Gandalf like basically restores Theoden as the
Yeah.
king. That was a great scene, and it was good in the movie. It was, in my opinion, it was better in the movie, but it was still really fucking good in the book. Um, I don't like the Battle of Helm's Deep in the book. It was not good,
I agree. It was not done well. Um,
and there was a lot of tree talk,
there
and
was a lot of tree talk. That is
it's a
fair.
struggle.
That is fair.
I would absolutely like read The Hobbit. Like if you're a person like I don't have time to read Lord of the Rings, just read The Hobbit.
How about it's good? It's actually
Good
really
book, quick.
yep.
So that's my thought. I think I kind of hold to my rankings. I'm gonna go Return of the King, Hobbit, Fellowship, Two Towers.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right. So we've done it. We've given our rankings. It was a trip. You're up next, Dylan.
I am up next, and I have chosen the Red Rising series.
The Red Rising. Let's see, let's look this up. The Red Rising.
By Pierce Brown, I think was the name.
Science fiction. Now, Pierce Brown. How many books we talking?
6. I think there's a 7th coming.
6 books.
The first one's super short.
Dystopian science fiction. So we're going in the future.
We're on to the future.
Going in the future. I love it. I've never heard of this. Future on Mars. I love it. I'm pumped. Is there a TV show about this? A
I don't
movie?
think so.
This is exclusively novel, not based on anything.
Exclusively novels. Yeah. So I have read the first book because it was one of our books for the monthly book club for the Discord.
Love
It's
it.
good. I'm gonna reread it because I enjoyed
It
it so much.
blows my mind that you can read monthly Discord books while reading the books we read.
Well,
That's
what I was doing was the monthly book I would do audio, and then like our book I would just read physically.
was that
But
back like
Lord of the Rings
Warhammer
is
though?
long as fuck, so I quit doing that.
Okay, so that was like Warhammer. I get that. I
Yeah, for
totally.
Warhammer it was like easy because it was like, like the read is like 600 pages. Lord of the Rings is too long to do that.
Okay, so there's a board game.
Oh, I didn't know that.
We gotta find it at Gen Con next week.
Speaking of Gen Con, I've picked out some things that I want to check out.
Oh, I'm excited because I haven't picked out anything. So whatever you want to do, I'm down.
Yeah, there's a few board games I'm interested in.
Katie is
There,
probably not going to be there very often, so it might just be me and you most of the time.
that's fine. Darn, we have to hang out.
Oh no,
Be real bad if we found where the beers were and had to play board games.
that's not a thing. So okay, Red Rising. What's our rule here? So there might be a seventh book. Do you know how many are going to be in the series? Should we read up to a
Seventh
certain
would be the last.
seventh? So we're hoping the seventh will be done. We're going to do a 7 book series.
Yeah. Let's see. Red Rising. Date book 7. Red Rising book 7 release date. Uh, from April 5th through 6th. Only sign. Hold on. The fuck is this? Pierce Brown turned an update on Red God. An ominous tease for a scene he's writing. But I need. Okay. When does Red God release?
You know what's going to happen when we start reviewing this book?
What?
They're going to announce some TV show like 2 weeks in. Guarantee it.
That'd be hilarious.
That's classic what we do, right? We're doing Warhammer TV show with Henry Cavill. We get the Lord of the Rings, Gollum movie. What's happening?
It looks. I'm so confused. What is the release date for? I don't want to deal with. I'm not turning off my ad blocker, you piece of shit. He announced this in 2022 that he was releasing the 7th book. I do not see its release date yet.
Don't George R. R. Martin me here, Dylan. You about to get me on a series?
God, that would fucking suck, wouldn't it?
I only see 5 books in the collection. We will figure it out, but as of right now, the plan is Red Rising.
Yep. So we'll start that. I imagine it's gonna take a week before you're ready to talk about it, unless you really get into it.
Yeah, I probably can't start reading it till Monday, so we may not have like a lot of time, but we'll see. I'll see how much I get into it.
Yeah, maybe next week we just kind of get together and just chat.
I'd love to do some chatting. It's been all of Lord of the Rings, been through Warhammer. I'd love to chat.
Yeah, let's do that. So next week we'll chat, and the week after we will start talking about Red Rising, guys. So that's it. That's the Lord of the Rings. We did it. We conquered it.
I can die now. That was I think that was the last thing on my bucket list.
It was a short bucket list, but that's all we needed. So as always, guys, find us on our Discord. You find that pinned to our Twitter at Heresy Lodge. Email us at theheresiolodge@gmail.com. Check us out on YouTube at the Heresy Lodge. As always, set us up. We're fun. We just are not always glued to our phones like we should be for the Discord. But there's several people in there they're great people. There's a monthly book club in there. There's a weekly movie going on. So check things out and have a good one, guys.